The students return to the cruise ship only to find the vacation isn't over yet. Well, it hasn't really started. Apparently, there's a second special test to be held on the ship itself. The students are put into groups named after the planets, 8 groups of 14, with 3 students from classes A and B and 4 from C and D. The test takes place over 3 days. On the first, 1 student per group is chosen to be the VIP. The groups meet twice a day to discuss who that is and how to proceed. There are 4 possible cases regarding the test. Case 1. Every student receives 500,000 private points if everyone who isn't in the VIP's class guesses correctly, netting the VIP a 500,000 point bonus. Case 2. If anyone guesses wrong, excluding the VIP's classmates, the VIP receives 500,000 points. If the VIP is exposed, the final 2 cases still apply. Case 3. If someone guesses the right answer, they receive 500,000 points and their class gets 50, unless the student is in the VIP's class, in which case, the test continues. Case 4. If the wrong answer is sent, the class loses 50 points while the VIP receives 500,000 along with their class who receives 50. On the first day, Ayano and Suzune show each other their email confirming that neither is a VIP. Ryuin appears and interrogates Suzune, still believing she is the mastermind of Class D. A war almost breaks out during the first meeting of Team Mars, Ayano team. Trying to come to an agreement, the idea of aiming for Case 1 is floated, but Class A refuses to engage with the others, vowing to stay silent the entire time. After the meeting, Ayano overhears 3 students from Class C harassing Kei, accusing her of getting into an altercation with their classmate and demanding an apology. Defending herself, Kei denies it, claiming she has no idea what they're talking about. Ayano meets with his classmates about the identity of a VIP. But before they can make a game plan, Koenji correctly guesses the Saturn group's VIP. Although the others think it was premature speculation, Koenji continues his streak of getting off early and finishing first to get the max vacation time. That evening, Ayano asks Suzune about Kei and whether they could use her status in Class D to their advantage when Ryuin appears. Apparently, he already has the game in the bag along with his classmates' cell phones, despite going against the rules. With them, he's able to check who received the VIP email. Suzune turns down his offer to unite the other 3 classes against Class A, disgusted by his creepy demeanor. On his way back to his cabin, Ayano notices Kei distraught, begging Hirata to protect her from Shiho and the other bullies from Class C. He agrees, suggesting she simply apologizes and reiterates that they are only dating for appearances, a purely transactional relationship. This only frustrates Kei, who breaks off their fake relationship, accusing Hirata of not caring about her. Ayano approaches Hirata, who confirms his suspicions of Kei's history of being a bullying victim after she storms off. On the 3rd day, Shiho and her lackeys bring Rika, luring Kei to a quiet area of the ship. Kei has a panic attack. Shiho figures she must have been bullied before and coerces Riko into hitting her repeatedly as Ayano watches from the shadows, obviously having knowledge of the meeting. He approaches Kei while she breaks down after the girls leave and uses her helplessness to his advantage. When he discovers a cut on her chest, he promises to protect her in exchange for helping him unify Class D to win the exam. Before the final meeting, Hanami and Ayano discuss making it to Class A, even though they are in separate classes. Hanami reveals that they can both make it, with points, of course. Just a measly 20 million will do. Ayano admits that he saw her total while handling her phone. During the final meeting, it's decided that everyone shows the email they received to prove they aren't the VIP. Even with the chance of someone submitting their guess first, everyone complies one by one until Yukimura hesitates, stunning everyone when he confesses to being the VIP, begging them to keep quiet until the test is through. Hanami doesn't buy it and calls Ayano number, revealing that he switched phones with Yukimura, implying he's the VIP, more like the real MVP. Kei and Ayano discuss the real plan. After determining Kei was the VIP, he offers that they exchange not just phones but SIM cards too, which he obtained from SAE. Ayano then switches Kei's phone with Yukimura's. Hanami explains that she was aware of their plot but chose not to share it owing to their connection with Class D. Ryuin appears, revealing a Class D student falsely claimed that Kikyo was one of the VIPs, departing after threatening Suzune and Class D once again. It turns out the VIPs were picked based on the place of their names in the hiragana scripture and the VIP's associated planet group, which allowed Class C to figure out the VIPs' identities. Back at school, the next test is a 13-event sports festival themed. Team Red vs Team White. Team Red Classes A and D versus Team White, Classes B and C. The festival offers numerous benefits. The top 3 placements get 1,000 points or bonuses on their written test, and drawbacks. The worst 10 placements lose bonuses on their written exam. Classes choose who participates in the activities. Class decides on selecting participants based on talent or volunteering. Suzune recommends pairing stronger and weaker students to win the events, at the risk of the weaker students losing out on merit. Suzune's proposition does not sit well with Kei. She refutes the notion, pointing out that Suzune looks down on everyone and can't unify the class with such an attitude. Kei seeks Kikyo's advice, who suggests combining both views, and the class agrees. But Suzune just enrages the class by labeling them incompetent. Hirata reconciles by polling the class on who had the better concept, siding with Kei. Later, Kei and Ayanokoji talk about how he told her to oppose Suzune's plans and acquire Kikyo's perspective. He predicts there's a traitor in Class D but refuses to elaborate. Ayanokoji tells Suzune he believes Kikyo is the one betraying the class. He invites her to spy on Team White, where Suzune openly wonders if Kikyo sold information, which she denies. The sports festival gets underway while Sudo inspires Class D to keep morale high. Ryuen beats down Sudo in the top of the pole event, causing Team Red to lose. Matters worsen when Suzune gets hurt after colliding with another student from Class C. Kei and Ayanokoji suspect the Class D traitor revealed the participation list to Ryuen for Sudo and Suzune to be targeted. Ayanokoji goes on to say that he never intended for the class to win the festival, and that doing nothing is the best course of action. Sudo is so upset at being targeted that he hits Hirata and then flees, severely decreasing class morale. Ayanokoji instructs Suzune to be useful in persuading Sudo to rejoin and use him as her own weapon, just as he uses her. During a short break, Kei and Hirata ask Ayanokoji who the traitor is, to which he responds that submitting the leaked list was Suzune's idea. Kikyo convinces Suzune to go to the doctor, where Ryuen awaits. He accuses Suzune of intentionally hurting his classmate and demands 1 million private points for his silence. Suzune thinks it's a bluff, but Ryuen demands the points and for Suzune to grovel, giving her until the end of the festival. Suzune runs into her brother in the hall, admitting that she's aware of her inadequacies and will no longer bother him. While Suzune attempts to get Sudo back, he reveals that he only attended the festival to prove to the class that he isn't useless after all. Suzune insists that he shouldn't give up, because it would only prove them right. Meanwhile, Ayanokoji confronts Kikyo about being the traitor before the break ends. She disputes the claim and speculates why Ayanokoji didn't update the list if he was aware she had leaked it, which she believes would have caused inter-class confusion. She finally admits that she leaked the list and sold her VIP knowledge to Ryuen to see Suzune and Ayanokoji expelled. Suzune attempts to persuade Sudo again, pointing out how they both crave recognition from others. She admits to seeking her brother's approval, isolating herself from others. Following her experiences with Class D, she learns that she can't fight alone and needs friends, to which Sudo succumbs, realizing they're more alike than he thought. Sudo returns to the festival and apologizes for his behavior. But due to injuries, Suzune and another student withdraw from the final event, so Kikyo and Ayanokoji step in. Manabu and Ayanokoji discuss the future of Class D before the last event, a relay race, and the latter indulges the former in a race to discover more about him. Manabu waits despite being in the lead. As soon as Ayanokoji's baton touches his hand, they both take off, leaving the school in shock when he almost beats the student council president. Suzune meets with Ryuen to give her response with Kikyo present. Suzune confronts her about being a traitor and tells her to drop the innocent act. Kikyo agrees and then confesses her plan to eject Suzune by any means necessary and eliminate those who know about her past. Ryuen admits that he had Kikyo supply the list and told Saki to injure Suzune then pretend to be gravely wounded. Suzune refuses to be blackmailed, revealing she's been recording the whole conversation, but so has Ryuen. Suddenly, he receives an anonymous email containing a tape of him urging Saki to hurt Suzune. He compliments Suzune and Class D's Mastermind for predicting their every move, backing off for now. After Manabu announces his resignation as president of the student council, Maya Sato timidly asks Ayanokoji for his phone number, implying she has a crush on him. Despite finishing last in the festival, none of the students were expelled, much to Ms. Chabashira's delight. It's the first time she hasn't lost a student. She informs the students about the next special test, which will function as their final exam, paper shuffle. 2 students will be teamed together and must earn more than 60 points as a pair, even if X student scores 0 and Y student scores 60, or both will be expelled. A mini-test will be used to select the pairs, and there is a point threshold for the total points from all topics. Each class will create exam questions, which will be answered by one of the other 3 classes. The class that created the questions can request other classes to do the test, and a lottery will be held if there is a duplicate request. The requestee and the requester will compete, and the class with the greater score will steal 50 class points from the other. Cheating will result in expulsion immediately. Suzune reveals that Kikyo went to the same middle school. Rumor has it that a single female student, whom Suzune suspects is Kikyo, was the trigger to an event that all but destroyed the class. Meanwhile, Ryuen threatens his class, trying to weed out their class spy, Shiho. He decides against it when he learns that she was just being played by the Mastermind. Ayana Koji and Suzune join the others to construct a strategy in which some students purposely fail the mini-test, allowing the highest scorers to be matched with the lowest scorers. The students agree to Suzune's plan for the mini-test the next day. Of course, Ayana Koji gets partnered with Maya for paper shuffle. The students in Yukimura's study session push Ayana Koji to quit holding back, given his performance at the festival. Ayana Koji suggests preparing for any nasty tactics the classes devise for the test, adding that the school may have a mechanism in place to mediate questions. Ayana Koji shares the knowledge to Suzune later that day, as the two contemplate keeping an eye on Kikyo. Ayana Koji receives an email from Ryuen inquiring as to who the genius behind Class D is. Suzune meets with Kikyo alone. The two wager on the paper shuffle math exam. If Suzune scores higher, Kikyo will stop bothering her. If Kikyo wins, Suzune gets expelled. Suzune has her brother witness the arrangement to confirm that it is a legitimate bet. Kikyo figures Ayana Koji is listening in on the conversation and invites him to meet. At the rendezvous, Kikyo adds another condition. If she wins, Ayana Koji will be expelled as well. He accepts, but wants to know about Kikyo's background since she already suspects he and Suzune know. Kikyo was hailed as a top achiever, so much so that she wanted praise and attention, which finally stopped. To retain everyone's attention, she became the kindest, friendliest, and most compassionate person possible. Despite her best efforts, this took its toll on her mental health. To relieve her anxiety, she started a personal blog where she gossiped about her classmates. Her friends discovered the blog and rejected her. Exhausted from putting on a front, she divulged every nasty secret, turning the class against itself. She hints that she has dirt on some students from Class D. Being complimented and understanding the filthy realities about others excite her enough to consider desperate measures. A monster born of the hunger for attention. Ryuen learns about Kikyo's wager. In exchange for their expulsion, Kikyo would allow Class C to win paper shuffle. Later, Ryuen interrupts Ayana Koji's study session and questions vaguely about the email to find the Class D genius. Feeling at ease with the study group, Haruka chooses to form a buddy group with Akito, Ayana Koji, and Yukimura, who requests to be renamed Kisi. And Eri also joins the group, dubbed the Ayana Koji group. Later that night, Ayana Koji contacts Kei and asks her to take a key role in paper shuffle. The next day, Kei calls Kikyo out for attempting to push everyone and not caring when someone fails. After spilling a drink on her uniform, Kei apologizes and insists on paying for it to be cleaned. Kikyo offers to submit the exam questions and requests Ms. Chabashira to delete any additional copies from Class D. Subsequently, Kikyo provides the questions to Ryuen in accordance with their agreement. The big day arrives, and Kikyo is baffled when she gets to the math section. Kikyo loses it on Ryuen for not keeping his end of the bargain, but he figures that Suzune saw through it all. It turns out that Suzune requested that Ms. Chabashira accept questions from her only and dismiss all others. Ryuen discovers a cheat sheet on her uniform, implying that he betrayed Kikyo by giving his class copy to the Class D Mastermind. Kikyo agrees to fulfill her share of the bargain, but threatens Ayana Koji. She never promised to leave him alone. Ryuen is even more determined to find the Mastermind after being thwarted at every turn. He targets Kei to lure them out of hiding. The next day, several Class D students are agitated by Class C. Suzune observes that Ryuen is doing this to exploit the Mastermind. Ayana Koji is led to a reception area, where his father, whom he hasn't seen in over a year and a half, awaits. His father claims that their butler committed himself after being sacked for assisting Ayana Koji apply for school. To make matters worse, he wants Ayana Koji to sign the school withdrawal form and return to the White Room. Just then, Mr. Sakayanaji, the school's chairman, intervenes, stating that Ayana Koji was enrolled in the school on his recommendation and that no one has the authority to forcefully withdraw a student, prompting his father to back down. Ayana Koji confronts Ms. Chabashira afterwards for using him to get to Class A. She lied about knowing his father. Later that night, Ayana Koji apologizes to Kei for manipulating her and states that he will abandon his ambition to advance from Class D to Class A, leaving that to Suzune and Hirata, and concludes the chat by claiming that this will be their final conversation. Ryuen intrudes on Class D, causing Koenji to leave. Ryuen and his lackeys follow. More Class C students confront Koenji in the courtyard as Ryuen begins provoking him by damaging Koenji's things. Arisu and other Class A officers arrive to see the brawl. Koenji deduces that Ryuen is looking for the Class D Mastermind and attempts to defuse the situation by declaring that he is uninterested in the inter-class battle and does whatever he wants. Ryuen calms down, but Arisu starts taunting him. As everyone departs, Ryuen threatens Suzune and Class D and proclaims that his hunt for the Mastermind is almost over. Ryuen outlines his strategy to catch the Mastermind using Kei as bait. He entices her to a secluded site, tying her up. He pressures her to uncover the Mastermind, or expose her previous bullying in order to damage her reputation. Ryuen begins tormenting her upon hearing this, but Kei keeps her cool, claiming that there is no Mastermind. pleading with her to stop Ryuin from injuring Kei for Class D to advance. She agrees when Ayano Koji enlists Manabu's assistance in eliminating Ryuin in exchange for Suzune entering the student council. Ayano Koji finally comes to Kei's aid, exposing himself as the mastermind. Ryuin threatens Ayano Koji with physical harm and orders his subordinates to attack. Ayano Koji quickly disposes of his lackeys, surprising both Ryuin and Kei. He declares that he orchestrated the entire conflict, duping Ryuin. Upon hearing this, Ibuki takes a shot at Ayano Koji but is knocked out. Ryuin and Ayano Koji engage in a full-fledged battle as they tease each other about who will win. When he gains control, he viciously beats Ryuin's face, instilling terror, despite Ryuin insisting that he's never felt fear. Ayano Koji rushes to console Kei, reiterating his promise to save her no matter what. Everything went according to his plan. The next day, Ayano Koji informs Suzune that her brother wants her to join the student council and feels it would help her overall. Later that day, Ayano Koji and Ryuin meet and discuss how he saved him by accepting responsibility for the gymnasium kidnapping. Ayano Koji predicts that Class D will reach Class C only to be downgraded after reaching his goal to expel Kikyo the following term. Ayano Koji and Maya meet on Christmas Day, with Kei and Hirata joining them as a double date. When Kei and Hirata leave, Maya confesses to Ayano Koji, who rejects her since he has never had feelings for anybody. Kei watches from the bushes and asks if he sees everyone as tools. He neither confirms nor denies it. She offers him a gift, which Ayano Koji reciprocates by giving her cold medicine. As the two walk back, he calls her by her given name for the first time and wonders whether he'll ever stop thinking of others as pawns. As Kei and Ayano Koji part ways, Arisa pursues him and explains that she knows him from the White Room and that she intends to take him down. He'd like to see her try.
How was the video? We hope it was good. If so, please check these videos. Also, please comment down your thoughts and your suggestions for future videos. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing now to show the support to our channel. We hope to see you soon with another video right in this channel. Have a nice day.